In this episode number 22 of the Real Recovery Podcast, Peter and Julie sit down with Skyler Ray, a touring artist in long-term recovery. Skyler, with his dynamic and enthusiastic personality, shares his compelling journey from childhood abandonment and addiction to finding sobriety through music. Topics discussed include the impact of abandonment issues, his time in prison, setting goals for recovery, and the transformative power of pursuing one's passions. Tune in to hear Skyler's inspiring story of resilience and hope.
Hello, and welcome to the Real Recovery Podcast. I'm Julie, your co-host. On this journey of healing and transformation, together with my co-host Peter, we dive into the heart of recovery, sharing stories that resonate with courage and inspiration.
That's right, Julie. Each episode is a new chapter in this vast narrative of recovery, and we're honored to bring them to you. But keep in mind the perspectives you'll hear are for informational purposes only and may not reflect the views of the podcast or our partners.
Indeed, while these conversations can be a powerful part of your recovery toolkit, they are not substitute for professional medical advice. We encourage you to seek guidance from your healthcare provider for any treatment-related decisions.
And if you're facing an immediate crisis, or if you just need to talk to someone who understands, don't hesitate to call the Recovery Crisis Line at 503-223-8569. That number is also on our website. Help is available 24/7.
Now let's begin our episode
of recovery, real recovery.
But ask him about Xanadu or any movie. Jesus.
Hey, fair enough.
I like sports. I just don't follow sports. So
hey, that's fair. Basketball is about. So when I was younger, I played football in like middle school, right? Older brother played high school and all that stuff like that. I was absolutely in love in football. It was a dream for a little bit. And then as I got older, I started liking basketball and not really caring for football.
Yeah, you don't get beat up in basketball.
Also, I found it more exciting because of the faster pace in basketball, but also we have a team. So it was like team pride. You had to know everybody. Then you start getting into everybody else's. So
yeah, my kid was a sport. I'm her mother, but it was really cool to watch her playing sports.
That's incredible.
Are you recording?
I'm ready and recording, and we can start anytime.
Let's get it.
Okay. Welcome
Thank
to
you.
Real Recovery Podcast. I'm Julie.
I'm Peter here on the Real Recovery Podcast with
Skyler Ray. I'm
Hello.
a national touring artist in long-term recovery.
Split personality, I'm sick, I'm a mess. I have deep conversations with the voices in my head. They're my darkest of demons and my closest of friends. I got a split personality, a split personality.
Hopping on my mind right, yelling at the sunlight. It's 2 a.m. Looks like I just came from a bar fight. I'm crippled and mangled, can't breathe like I'm strangled. And I keep dumping out my backpack, my charger cord is tangled. My legs is weak and I'm tweaking, let's just put it on the table. You can front me if you want, I'll pay you back if I'm able. Oh shit, it's the cops, and I got me some rocks and a couple of pills, I'm about to make me a drop. 80 cc's just straight to your dome. Put you in a coma like nobody's home. Tell the cops just stop tapping my phone. Like leave me alone, yeah, leave me alone. Maybe I'm a menace like Dennis. My head is as shredded as lettuce. I hope no one is watching like tennis. Now here's the situation, I'm still on probation. Got a suspended sentence, 10 years is what I'm facing.
I've got a split personality, I'm sick, I'm a mess. I have deep conversations with the voices in my head. They're my darkest of demons and my closest of friends. I got a split personality, a split personality.
We are so excited. Tony
thank you.
D recommended us to hear your story. And I'm personally really excited because I haven't heard it. A lot of the people we have on the show, like, I hadn't heard all of Tony's story, but I knew who Tony was, and I had met him at some galas
love Tony.
and stuff.
Yeah.
He's a cool dude.
He's good people.
He is.
He's good
I just
people.
went through the mentor class. I didn't want to be a mentor, but I wanted to understand it.
Okay.
So I got certified and went through the class. So.
That's incredible.
Yeah. It was really good. I learned a lot.
Okay, yeah. I love my recovery people and what they do to really lift up the community. It's an incredible thing to be able to see people that were once counted as a loss or deemed as a threat to society to flip their life around and show that they could actually be a superhero of some sorts and change many lives and also make a difference in so many people's lives. It's incredible.
I love that.
Yeah.
My pre-sentencing investigation,
Yeah.
last page says I was not
Rehabilitated or whatever.
Yeah. They said that, and I was like, really? I run a company.
Let me show them real quick.
Yeah, we'll show you.
Oh.
And that's the other thing I think is so beautiful about the people that we've talked to. A lot of them were just like you said.
Yeah.
People discount, walk by,
Yes.
they're on the street, whatever. And now they're founding and running nonprofits. They're helping hundreds of people, maybe even more. It's just so cool. And some of the people I really admire, they are taking people who are in recovery, who graduate, if you will, out of recovery and giving them jobs because putting their trust in them. And I think that's so cool because otherwise,
beautiful.
where would these people be? What kind of life would be ahead of them?
Absolutely.
You got to give them hope. And then through this podcast, we hope others who listen, who maybe are in that situation, can hear and say, wow, this guy was on the street.
Yep.
And here he is running a corporation. I can do it.
Yeah. It really does give hope, and it shows others that they could turn their life around. It shows people that it's possible.
That's what we're hoping, that also we give people places to go and tell them what a mentor is.
Yep.
We're trying to just let them know, and we have covered NA.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get to the
OA.
Native American. Yeah, OA, bipolar. There's
cool.
so many different things out there. Everybody's program's different, but they don't have to be alone.
You don't have to be alone. And that's the thing, is like the names and the situations in our story may be different, and we may feel like our situation's unique and no one understands us. So it's like we're afraid, we don't want to be vulnerable, we don't want to reach out. But a lot of the times, if you hear someone else's story, oh my God, that's my story.
Yes.
And so it's really incredible, and that's why I think it's important for people to speak up and be the voice for the people that never had a voice.
Amen.
Exactly.
I love that.
Yeah.
With that,
Yeah, tell us about
let's
you.
hear
I'm
your
so
story.
excited.
Okay, I got you guys. Do you guys, so I do this for a living. Do you guys want,
I love it.
do you guys want the full story? Or
We
you guys-
do.
The full story?
Yeah, we do.
It's
You
it's
have,
like 45 minutes.
but that's perfect.
got-
We're
Okay.
excited.
Okay, cool. I didn't want to just ramble your whole
No.
thing.
No, one of the things we like, and I think differentiates us from other podcasts, is that, and even from the meetings, you don't just get 10 minutes.
Yeah.
It's like free form. It's like
Fair
our
enough.
listeners are flies on the wall,
Yeah.
and they're like hearing this conversation, and they
It-
get the full,
that's-
unfiltered, here it is.
Yes, that's incredible. I love it. Okay, absolutely. And if you guys have any questions, stop me at any time.
Okay.
Okay. My story really starts at 9 years old. I have an older brother, my mom and my dad. My mom and my dad aren't really getting along too well. So they end up, like, my mom packs me and my brother up in a car and takes us to a different state. We go to a shelter, right? And so it was like a lot. And if anybody has kids, they understand the dynamic, right? Of two boys. I'm sure it's the same with girls, but two boys. I was the younger one, so I started a lot of the trouble. My older brother put me in my place, and then I would go cry and tell, right? So you have the younger brother being wild, the older brother like smacks him or whatever happens. It was a lot for my mom. I love my mom very much. She has depression, bipolar, things like that. So it was a lot for her to handle. And so I remember throwing a fit because we didn't want to eat the food that was being served. I was being really judgmental of the people. I was young. I was in this shelter. I was in this place, and I was like, I'm not eating that. So I threw a fit, and I was crying. Mom said she would be back. She's going to get us some food. She'll be back. She's going to go to the store. She never came back, okay? And so I'm 9 years old. Me and my brother are sitting on the curb. After about an hour or two, the people at the front desk see the situation unfolding, right? Mom hasn't came back. So they end up calling. The police come. They come grab me and my brother, except for they grabbed us in different cars, right? And put us in different homes. And so at the age of 9, within a very short time, less than a week, like, I lost my mom, my dad, and my brother. And in one way, right? I'm out here alone.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing about it is you would think it would really destroy a young kid, and I guess it did, but I didn't know it. And that's the thing is, as I got older, I realized I dealt with abandonment issues, and I never knew that, right? And so here's the thing. I put on this mask. It was a blessing at the time, but it ended up to being a curse. And the way I say that, as I break down my story, you guys will understand the way as it affected me in every single part of my life. Okay, so I didn't know I was dealing with this. I was happy. I was excited. I looked at it as an adventure. Like, yo, this is like wild, right? I'm out here. I'm in this home. I'm brave. Mama's little man's going to be brave. And you have caseworkers and everybody like, you're going to go to this home. They're going to take care of you. They're great. And I'm like, why would these adults lie, right? I'm 9 years old, right? I got food. Okay, things seem to be going well. So I'm there, and I didn't know. I think I developed something, a mask. You know, I think it was a defensive mechanism. And I didn't realize I was hurting at the time. And so I masked my emotions so good that I masked them for myself.
Wow.
Right? I didn't pretend just to the public that it was okay. Like, I didn't even know. Like I said, I was like,
Probably
this is
trying to adapt.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is an adventure, right? Survival mode. And so I'm there. I'm going through foster homes. I actually moved a lot of foster homes. I was in a lot of temporary homes. But throughout school, one thing I've noticed is I was always that class clown, right? I was always that kid that was cracking jokes, that was being annoying, couldn't read the room, know when to shut up, or it wasn't just like one little slick one, everybody laughed and that was good, right? Because it felt good for people to laugh or people to smile because I felt accepted and I felt loved, right?
Right.
And so that was me. Here's the thing. I didn't know how to read the room. That kid that was funny the first two jokes is now annoying, right? And so I would get told to be quiet or someone tell me to shut up or whatever the terms were, right? I took it personally because I felt so crushed and rejected that I would try to start fights. So I got into so many fights in middle school, high school, acting up like this. I probably went to 6 or 7 different high schools, alternative schools, things like that. The drug use started young at 10 or 11. I finally did get a little contact with my brother, getting placed with one home for him for a little bit. But he was 4 years older, and I was his right-hand man. I was like his little ace deuce. So when everything he did, I did. So he got into drugs and alcohol. So that means I did at that time, right? I'm smoking with him. I'm drinking with him. So I'm like 10 or 11. I hung out with his friends after school. I didn't hang out with my friends. And so this kind of happened. And, you know, I've always wanted to do music. Always had dreams of doing music since 9 years old when I first heard Eminem. I was just in love with the way he put words together. And I think I was attached to the pain, right? Because I didn't know how to process my own pain. I still struggle with that. Through addiction, we deal with a lot of deaths and stuff, right? And I still don't know if I really feel the pain in the present moment. It's so bizarre. And so I really love pain in music. So here I am. I'm getting in trouble. I'm getting into fights. I'm getting expelled. At the age of 14, I move in with my dad back here in Portland, Oregon. Okay. I'm living with them, and then I live with them for about 4 years. At this point, we're with my dad, my uncle, and my auntie. They're the type of people, love them to death. They're the type of people that work really hard, right? Work really hard, but once the bills are paid, all the money goes to alcohol or weed. That's what it is. Bills are paid. Don't let an emergency come up. I got my party pay favors now. My bills are paid. The classic American person, right? And so by the time I'm 18, I'm still in school. My dad and my uncle and my auntie were there at this house we're staying off of Division 166 and Division, right by the little pit tire stop, the little orange house right there. But yeah, okay, yep. And it was A1 Guy tires before that.
I remember.
So I was in that orange house before it got bought up and before they developed everything.
Wow.
So I was 18 years old, and the person who bought the property said they were raising the rent. And so they were, my uncle and my dad and my auntie were talking about they were moving out. And I didn't hear anything about me. So that my story starts in that orange house, like at 18 years old. So with that being said, they were talking about where they were going to move. And the whole time I'm thinking, no one said anything about me. This is strange, right? Like we're all moving, but no reference to me. So I was like, okay. And I'm thinking to myself, maybe I'm 18. So maybe this is like the part no one ever explained when you're 18. You just figure stuff out and you spread your wings and it's time to leave the nest, I guess. No one's telling me, but I'm getting the hint.
I didn't have the guidebook, guys.
No, that's what I'm saying. Love my parents, love my family. We're all trying to figure life out. And I understand them as I get a lot older because life is hard. So here I am, 18. I go to call my mom. I have a good relationship with my mom. I love her to death. And I call her and I was like, hey, Mom, when like you have too much pride to ask for help. And so you want to
beat around the bush.
Yeah, beat around the bush, say something and hoping that somebody will fix your problems for you.
Sure.
So I'm like, hey, Mom, what's going on? And I'm like, hey, our dad and uncle and them are moving. They're moving over there. And my mom said, if you need a place to go, there's a shelter downtown, Portland, Oregon. The rescue house or the rescue mission.
Right. Mm-hmm.
There's all the resources and everything you need down there. So I was like, here we go. It's time to leave the nest, right? I don't know who else to ask. Mom and dad is not available.
Right.
And so I'm 18 years old. I head down there. And like, if anybody's listening, no matter what city you're listening, when it comes to addiction, there's always groups, right? People hang out with people that do have the same drug of choice. Why? Because it's easier to get. That's your circle. Everybody has information on it. It just makes sense. They accept you, right? So I go downtown. I'm just smoking and drinking at this point. And so I'm hanging out with them. There's a lot of kids down there that are my age. There's kids that are younger. There's kids that are older. We're down there by New Avenues for Youth, down on 8th and Oak down there. And we're tearing up the local Safeways. We'd go in there 10, 15 deep, go hit a Safeway minutes before they close because they only have a worker or two. They can't stop everybody, right? They can't stop. What are they going to do, grab one of us? Come on. So we would double fist it, go out, would go back, and that's how we would spend our nights, is sitting there and we would drink and we would smoke. And it's crazy because, like, at this point in age, I've tried, like, a lot of drugs, hallucinogens. I've tried couple of pills. Nothing really stuck with me. I tried meth before. I really liked it, but I've only done it once or twice. So I'm sitting in the doorways and somebody's, hey, I got a bag of some meth. Do you guys want to go get high? And I was like, yeah, where are we going to do it at? And we're not your typical tweakers yet. And I only say that word because that's what I was. That was my drug of choice. Full blown tweaker, right? Tweaking and geeking, moving and grooving. That was me.
IV drug user.
Yeah, same. That's
I'm
where
just told now you can't tell now.
Hey, that's where this story goes. And so I'm sitting there, and people that don't use the hard drugs are like, where are we going to use it at? And they're like, oh, there's a abandoned house out there on Alberta. And I was like, cool, let's go. Lombard in Alberta, let's go. So we're over there, and it's crazy what they say about statistics, right? It's a real thing, obviously, right? Numbers and data. But there was like 9 of us, and we all got high off some meth. And we're smoking it, and then afterwards, everybody went back to the kind of the normal thing besides 4 of us, right? Us 4 wanted to go get some more. And so that's what we were doing. And so we went out there, and I became just getting high every day on meth, right? Homeless. I'm like 19 now. I'm eating in the food lines, the public showers. You guys know where O'Brien Square is?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you guys remember when it was called Paranoia Park?
My daughter's father got arrested there.
Okay.
I met him there, bought a bag of weed.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so for
I went to the city nightclub, and
Okay.
I've gotten high on those bathrooms on Burnside,
Yep.
those 2 bathrooms on the left.
Elephant Park over
Yes.
there. Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where this story takes place in a lot of my addiction. I've probably been arrested maybe 15, 20 times, at least within a 5-block radius, because we're creatures of habit. We stay where we know where to get it, where we know where to hustle.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting there, and for the listeners, we call it Paranoia Park because it was the easiest place to score. It was the easiest place to get rid of dope, and it was where everybody was using. They had food lines there, everything like that. But they call it Paranoia Park because there's a cop shop right across the street, right? And so you're literally selling
paranoid.
dope, buying dope, paranoid. Cops are right there. They're walking in and out, getting in their car, and all this action is taking place like 50 feet, 100 feet maybe. So that's why it's called Paranoia Park.
Right.
And so a lot of my addiction takes place there. And so I'm sitting there, and if anybody knows, like once you're on probation, you get caught up for trespassing because you're homeless, right? You end up on probation, and they could search your pockets at any given moment.
They can
and
do whatever they want
if
once
not,
you're on.
Yeah, if
Right.
not, it's a probation violation. Empty your pockets. If not, you're going in. And you're like, what I got on me, I'm about to go in anyways.
Yeah.
So let's just play dumb. Wait till you turn your head and see if I can ditch this real quick. My shoes are tied. But no, so we're sitting there, and one day someone approaches me, and they're like, hey, would you like to sell some dope? And I thought to myself, this actually sounds like a good idea because, for one, I can get high on my own supply, right? I don't have to beg for dope. I don't have to steal. I don't have to do this. It's time to move to the upper echelons
next
of
level.
addiction. Yeah. So for one, I can get high on my own supply. And for 2, everybody I hang out with now, my circle, everybody does meth. This makes sense.
Right.
I'm like, oh, yeah, I'd like to sell some dope. Right. And so I started selling dope. And, we talked about what the abandonment issues did in school. It got me in trouble, got me kicked out, trying to fit in, trying to belong. What do you think those abandonment issues did to somebody selling dope? right? Because when you sell dope, anybody knows this. When the dope man pulls up, he is instantly the most important person in the room.
Yeah.
Right? It
Mr.
don't matter.
Popular.
Yeah. It don't matter if everybody was bashing him. Oh, Larry, I hate Larry. Like, he's a scumbag. He's this and that. As soon as Larry pulls up, hey, Larry, hey, how you doing, buddy? Haven't seen you forever. Because everybody's trying to get more dope. They're trying to get cheaper prices. They're trying to get a better trade-in value for their stolen headphones or bike they just jacked. And so that's imagine what that would do to my abandonment issues. It gave me a big head. I knew the love was fake. Like, I wasn't that dumb. I may have been high, but I wasn't that dumb. But it felt good to be that person, to be the man, to be popular. Everybody needed me because of what I had. All the girls flirted with you. All the buddies, all the guys wanted to be your friends. So you'd pull up, in my case, walk up to the block in the doorway, and you'd be leaving out of there at 2 a.m. with 6 iPads, 4 laptops, 10 EBT cars, 2 stolen bikes. You're giving someone 20 cents to walk the extra stolen bike. That's how it felt. The power was incredible, and that became its own addiction at itself.
Yeah.
Right? Not to mention, to a young kid, 18, 19 years old, starting out in the streets, the addiction to the chaos, right? It's a lawless society. I don't have to go to school. I don't have no bills, no job. I could literally get up, go drink with Kevin, go see Donnie on the next block, smoke something. That's very intriguing. It's like a 24/7 party with no adults, right?
Yeah.
And so all of this became its own addiction. I became addicted to the lifestyle. I became addicted not only to the drugs, I became addicted to the selling it, the fast money, feeling popular. Yeah. It's the whole cat and mouse, the thrill, the hunt. How can I stretch my money out and make as much as I can before I get caught? That adrenaline rush when the cops pull up or there's cops going by, and you're weighing stuff out, right? It's a real addiction. You would think it's crazy. Anybody who's not been in the drug life, listen, like, this guy's insane, right? No, this is real.
Right.
I actually really get it. I sold at the city nightclub for a long time, but my plan was to go into the escort service so I didn't have to sell drugs. I could just buy them.
You could just buy
I just made more money so I could buy them.
Right.
And then don't do the escort service. Just own it because you'll make more money when you can just buy an ounce at a time.
Yep. You wanted to climb up the ladder, right?
Yeah, I did. And the corporate ladder.
The corporate ladder in our world, right? The underground world.
Because I didn't like the square. So I actually didn't like hanging out.
I didn't like the Pioneer Square. I didn't like the square.
Yeah, I didn't either.
So we come from the NAFI days, right? I'll be 34 this year. So this takes place 18 through 24, right? 23. And I spent a lot of my 20s either locked up, addiction, or things like that, a few years clean. And so I'm out there, and as an addict, we always want to get as high as we can, as quick as we can. So that smoking turned into shooting dope.
Right.
I was going to say I've never smoked it.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, you went straight for the reward.
No, so I snorted it, got a bloody nose.
Yeah.
Then I took it in capsules till I got a stomach ache. And then I was like, and at that time, nobody really smoked it.
Okay.
Because I'm 86, in 86. So it was different. And when I saw someone smoke it for the first time, I was like, you're wasting it all over the paper. Yeah. So it was different to me. And the guy would act like a dork for a shorter time.
Yeah.
Where if you do it IV wise, it lasts.
You're
longer.
good to go.
Yeah.
You're good to go.
And no upset stomach.
No.
And no bloody nose.
And no bloody nose.
Bloody nose is not attractive.
No, it's not. No, it's not. And so I'm sitting there. I'm hustling. I'm selling. I'm addicted to it. I found myself incarcerated a lot. And here's the thing is, so everybody who's been to jail has told themselves this. When I get out, I'm going to do something different.
And I'm never going to do it again.
I'm never going to do it again. I'm going to get that job. I never had a job, but I'm going to get a job, right?
And you pray all of a sudden you find God.
Right? There's all these things.
I promise, God, if you just help me this time, I won't do this again.
And so we all tell ourselves this.
You really do.
And if anybody's familiar with Portland, so the Justice Center, I was always down at the Justice Center, not Inverness, because I'd get in trouble, right? So they wouldn't ship me to Inverness. So I'd be at Justice Center, and by the time you get released, right, you got over the Mead building over on 6th and Washington, right? It might be 5th or 6th, but by the time I would walk that 5-6 blocks, I would get high before I checked in. So here I am in jail telling myself this whole time, this month, 4 months, 5 months, whatever, that I'm going to do good and actually mean it. Like I could probably pass a lie detector, like how much I meant it. And then I'd go out there and I would get high before I checked in. I was even smart enough to check in and at least earn me another week, right? So this is a real stint. Like I went there, I would do 6 months. This is real. I did 6 months, got out for 3 days, went and did 9 months, got out for 6 days, went back and did another 9 months. And so that just shows you I would literally last as long as it took for the warrant to go out. Sometimes it'd be Friday, and they're like, we'll see how Skyler's doing Monday. And, of course, obviously I wasn't, so then I'd get arrested on, like, Tuesday, you know?
Right.
And being homeless, they know where you're at. They know where you eat. It's got to be just like shooting fish in a barrel. Like, you pull up, like, you see all the homeless people. Oh, who got warrants? Oh, there's so-and-so. There's so-and-so. Oh, there's Mr. Dave. All right, Mr. Davis, come here. You know, I'm in the same spot. So I got arrested so many times within that block radius. And you know what the crazy thing is? How convincing drugs is. I actually felt, you know, I didn't want anything else other in my life. I didn't want a family. I had no aspirations.
Right.
Like I still wanted to do music. And I was like, I'll figure that out why I'm getting loaded. Right. That was the only candle that burnt during my darkness was music. You know, that's the only dreams I've ever had, especially as a kid. So I'm out there, I'm running and gunning. I'm so in love with my life. I'm just upset I keep getting caught. There was a time I got arrested. And so I get arrested and they didn't fill out the paperwork properly. The probations, the DA didn't commute properly with the judges, people. We went to, because they have 14 days to arraign you. I know what they at least do in Oregon. And I go there after a couple days. They don't even know why I'm in jail. They have no clue why I'm in jail. And so they're like, you could tell he's like irritated, not with me, with the probation officers and stuff, right? Wasting his time. And so they're like, all right, we'll bring you back here in a couple days. So they bring me back in a couple days. All the paperwork's wrong. They still don't even really know why I'm in jail. It's not clear. He's like, all right, we'll bring you back again. So they have to bring me back. We're on day 14. They have to arraign me or let me go. And so they bring me in there, and no one showed up to represent from the probation. No one showed up this and that. And whatever happened, the judge is like, Mr. Davis, we got to let you go. I can't literally arraign you for anything. I don't even know why you're here. So it's impossible to stick. He's, do you promise me if I let you go today, you're going to be good? What do you think I say?
Of course.
Oh, absolutely. Of course I would be good. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I got you. Of course I will. So I'm like, oh my God, this is like a glitch in the Matrix. Like, here I am. Of course, within an hour or two, I still had my phone on because I was only in for 14 days, right? Because I paid for the month. So my probation officer, of course, he could call me right away. And he's, what are you doing out? Da-da-da-da. You were supposed to serve a year sentence. And I was like, hey, this is not on me. Like, the judge let me out. He's the only one that could pull that trigger. Not my fault. And I sentence you to go to rehab right now. If you don't go to rehab, it's going to be a probation violation. Then you'll go do that year. So that's your two choices. And if you don't want to go to rehab, which tomorrow you have to be at this place. If you're not there, then you might as well come check in. If not, we'll come find you. So I was like, cool. So I was like, I'll go in. Never done rehab before. I'm sitting there feeling like Amy Winehouse, trying to make me go to rehab. And I'm sitting there, and I go, and this is the first time I actually had some clean time, like out on the streets. I go to Nara Residential, right? And I'm sitting there. I go in. It's supposed to be a 2-month at the quickest, if not a 3-month program. That's what my probation officer attended for me. I worked the system. And what I mean by that is I was trying to graduate as quick as I can. I was trying to, also I did spend some time to work on myself. That wasn't always my intention, right? But I was trying to get through things. So I just kept asking them, you got more work? You got more work? Did all the step work. I actually turned in quality work. Like while everybody else was hanging out, I was doing everything.
So you went to Nara?
Nara Residential the first time. And so I'm there, and eventually, after a couple weeks in, the guys, my case managers, we literally have nothing left. You ran through all 3 months of paperwork. You've done this. I've literally printed out worksheets for you offline. There's nothing left. And so he ended up graduating me in a month. I was the fastest person to ever graduate at that time. And imagine that phone call I got from my probation officer.
Oh, jeez.
What are you not doing in rehab? I said, he graduated me. What am I supposed to do? Like, you told me to complete it, and he was stuck. And he's, you better do good. If not, like, you're going to get in trouble. So I'm out there. I get a job. It's a sales office at the Union Bank Tower, downtown Portland, Oregon.
Not a
And
good area.
no, it's right above Paranoia Park.
Right.
O'Brien Square.
That's what I'm saying.
So the listeners, listen. So I work in this building now that's directly above where all my addiction took place. And it turns out there was no feds up there watching us or tracking us. It was just like business people trying to sell credit card processing. And so I'm up there and I actually end up doing really good, right? And I remember trying to get the job. I had no job sales experience. They wanted sales experience, right? And I roll in there and they're like, hey, do you have any sales experience? And I was like, yeah, flip to the next page. You see my criminal history? I was like, that's sales experience right there. And they laughed, but they actually hired me. So within a year or so, I ended up getting promoted to manager. We got a 100-employee office. I'm the manager. I actually got flown out because we had several different offices around the country. At this point, I'm wearing a suit and tie to work, right? I'm on salary. I got bonuses. I'm doing it legal. I literally have an office in the corner that looks down. I was literally at my lunch in my private office looking down and seeing my old running mates out there.
Oh, wow.
Sitting down there, right?
How crazy is that?
Isn't that crazy? It was like a full 360. It's like one of those moments you're like, yo, I was there. So I'm sitting there and I started making negotiations with myself. And what I mean by that is I started making excuses because I became this manager. They're flying me out all these different places and I'm getting awards of flying me out to Vegas, paying for all of it, +1, all this different stuff because I'm excelling so well at my position. What does everybody like to do when they get off work? Right? Long day. They like to throw one back, right? Mm-hmm. Let's wrap up this week. Let's go catch a cold one. Because it's socially acceptable. Right. Alcohol is everywhere. There's advertisements everywhere. Yeah. It's just what people do, and people don't look at it really like an addiction besides the ones that have been in it.
And it's legal.
Yep.
I can go get smashed right now if I got money in my pocket. Right. Nothing's stopping me, right? There's only repercussions for me because I can't handle it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly, yeah.
But so I'm sitting there and I'm thinking to myself, the only time I ever had a problem with addiction is meth. Right? And I thought to myself, I can drink. I'm not an alcoholic. I'm addicted to meth. Right? Turns out I can't drink. I am an alcoholic because I started drinking, right? I started drinking at this office and hanging out with the people at the office. You got your office behavior. And so I'm drinking and stuff. And the reason why I say I can't drink and I'm an alcoholic, it's not because I was spending a lot of my money. It's not because I started drinking at work. It's not because I was staying at the bars late and getting smashed and coming home and blacking out. Not because of that. I say it because every single principle I stand on as a man today, a sober man, all my morals, everything I believe in, right? Like being faithful, treat people right. I had a girlfriend we got clean with, right? And she was a really good girl to me, really nice. And here's the thing. I started cheating on her at work. I got big-headed. Those abandonment issues of everybody trying to be buddy with the boss. I'm getting drunk, so I'm not in the best mindset.
Right.
I become unfaithful. And that's how I know, because as you change as a person to a substance of who you are and what you truly believe in, and there's no way today. Yes. I compromised everything. My soul, my moral, everything, right? And so I'm sitting there, for good reason. The girl I was dating at the time broke up with me. She left me, as she should. No one deserves to be cheated on. No one deserves, right?
Right.
And so she left me. And the thing that kind of threw me in a pickle is I'm drinking, I'm doing this. I'm big-headed. I think I'm hot stuff. I'm 24 years old, suit and tie, all this stuff. Like, I'm succeeding a lot in life. But
it's probably hard to go from here to there.
I couldn't take it.
Yeah.
I couldn't take it. It was too much. I've never experienced it in my life. And like you said, there was no walkthrough. Mm-hmm. And so here I am, this single man, and I thought to myself, I only got clean for the girl I was dating. And that was my first mistake. Right? I got clean for someone else. Because she always struggled with heroin and always struggled with drugs. Her parents have sent her to rehab after rehab. She struggled with it. They never were able to get her clean. And then we got clean together. Right? So I always told myself, and I thought about it, my attitude was, I can't use, because if she uses, then she's going to go back. She can't quit. To me, that was my first time I actually tried quitting, and it worked out. I thought, this is easy. I went to rehab. I don't use anymore. I'm drinking, but now after I almost had a year, but now I'm drinking, but I'm like, that's normal stuff, right? I could do stuff.
That doesn't count.
Yeah, I just can't be on meth. And so here I am. Once she's out the situation, there's some coke starting to go around the office, right? And as you move up in the position, you start hanging out with people with a little bit more money, and the parties change a little bit. So I'm doing coke, And I thought to myself, I could do coke. Like, coke's not my addiction, right? Just like I said with alcohol. Turns out, even if I could do coke, I couldn't afford it for very long, right? Coke is expensive.
And it made me jittery, and you had to keep getting high
You
to
had to
stay
keep getting high.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter what I had in my bank account. It didn't matter what. I was broke after about a week and a half because I still felt the need to be the big man on campus, pull up to these parties. We have office parties and stuff like that. And I'm sitting there, I'm pulling up, and I felt the need to be the big man and be like, oh, you guys want to get high? Let's go to the room. I'm serving up. We're having like 20 people in there. You get a line. You get a line. When everybody's doing it, oh, we're out. Okay, here's money. Go run to the bank. Here's this. I'll transfer you money. Keep the coke coming. So that lasted like a week and a half. I ran through everything. And to the point where I was so broke, like I'm literally wondering, how can I afford like the $1.50, $2 to get on the bus to go to work? It's only Tuesday and I just got paid Monday. And that's how broke we are. How do I get to work today?
But that need inside you, that subconscious, that need, that little boy, if you will,
absolutely
needed that acceptance, needed that praise. And I get it
dead
totally.
Dead on. And that's where like all these abandonment issues, and that's why I tell this, because with my story, it's important. Yes, I am an addict, but there's a lot of stuff. Once the drug goes away, there's a lot of noise. The drugs just numb that noise and put the earmuffs on, right? Yeah. That's how we tolerate life. So once you take it off, how are you functional when all that noise comes rushing back? Yeah. And so to me, abandonment issues, I truly believe it was. For a lot of it, I deal with a lot of other stuff, but that's the clear sign pattern of my downfall throughout my life. The schools, the fight and expansion are getting expelled. The homeless, the selling drugs, to getting arrested, to getting this job, going up, sleeping with employees. Now I'm back on coke. Okay, so I'm broke. I'm trying to figure out how can I even get to work. And I think to myself, man, I'm really loving these uppers, right? I'm feeling good again. Like here I am back to my natural environment. I just can't afford it. And so I thought to myself, how can I keep getting high?
Sell some coke.
I went back to meth. I thought I can buy a 20 bag of some meth. I don't have to share it. Now I'm going to start being greedy because I'm broke, right? So I'm going to buy a 20 bag of meth. I'm going to get high and I'll be up for 3 or 4 days and we'll take it bag by bag. And so here I am getting high at the office, right? And I apologize and anybody from my office is listening, because my old office, because I don't know if they all knew the truth. I know some do. I'm sitting there. I'm on meth. At this point, you had to know, right? Because I'm swimming in my suit. And as anybody knows, a white person, when they get high and they've been up for days, they start turning blotchy. You're purple, you're red, you're blue, right?
Yeah.
You're all these different colors because your body needs sleep. You can tell real fast. And so I'm in this office and I'm trying to play it off, right? And I start smoking it. That's not enough. I want to go back to shooting. I became addicted to that rush, that 5-10 seconds of that, the fumes hitting the back of your throat and the intensity, right? That was my true love with the meth, was that initial high from shooting the dope. And I'm there. I'm back to shooting dope. I'm still in my position. Somehow I'm still in my position. I'm good friends with the higher ups, the vice presidents. That's how I got to where I was at. They're like mentors to me, and I'm still close with them. So I'm sitting there while I end up, like, at this point, I'm getting high at work. I remember there was a time that I was going in there. At this point, that we got security in there. I'm selling to the employees at the office. So you got to imagine, you get 5 or 10 bad apples. There's fights breaking out in there. There's security so we don't break our bank lease. And so I get pulled in the office by the vice president. Adam Ward, absolutely love him. Great man. When he asked me, he said, hey, we know you're getting high. And I was like, I'm not. And he's like, no, just hear me out. Listen, we would have fired you for your antics, right, and your behavior. But here's the thing. We're afraid if we fire you, you're going to die. And we don't want that to happen to you. So here's what we're going to do. If you want to go to rehab, I will pay you he said, I'll pay rehab out of my entire pocket. Like, I'll pay it. You don't owe me. Don't nothing. I will cover it. Let's get you in rehab. Let's save your life. And it really made me think. I'm grateful for the offer, but I looked him in his eyes and I told him, I said, hey, to be honest with you, I'm just starting to have fun. Like, I'm starting to have fun on this drugs. I'm loving it, right? There hasn't really been too many repercussions, right? I'm like,
not going to jail.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, this is fun. I think I could finally handle meth now. Obviously, I can't. But that was my thinking. And so he's, okay, here's the thing. We're going to move you down to entry-level position if you want to be here. It really burst my bubble. It really humbled me They took away the salaries. They took away the bonuses. I'm sitting next to Bob. Bob just started today, and he has just as much authority as me. That killed me. You know how embarrassing that was to be sitting there, and now I'm taking orders, and now it's like I was given the orders. I was manager of the other managers, like, and now I'm right next to Bob. What's going minimum wage? What up? And they told me keep coming back in, show up every day. You dress for the job you want, not the job you have. Don't come back in just jeans. Keep coming in that suit. The door isn't closed. You just got to work your way back up.
Right.
And I'm sitting there. I'm realizing I'm not getting paid much, you know? So I start selling meth. So I'm out there hustling. I would clock out of work. I would hustle because we're right downtown Portland, Oregon. My whole story of addiction, downtown Portland, Oregon. So I'm down there. I'm selling dope. And it's the only thing that's probably keeping my life together by threads is I have to clock in every day for work, right? Because I never missed a day. I think I only missed one day after 5 years of working there. And so like I kept showing up. I would sell dope all night, set the alarm on my phone. It would go off. I would go in there. I would clock in and go to work, clock out, and be running around all night, right? Wow. If I needed to take a 30-minute hour nap in the car before I go in, I would. Splash some water on your face, look presentable. And so that's how it was. And I remember getting a text on my phone talking about from Adam. And I thought it was somebody for like money. I was taking advantage of the place at this point. I was taking 3 to 4 bathroom breaks a day at work, 20-minute breaks. I was going down the elevator when I was supposed to be working, meeting somebody a block and a half away to sell a bag, come back. Figured like, who's going to tell me what to do? Like, I know I'm still like the little man right now, but like I was above a lot of people. So no one's going to, I kind of tested it. Like, are you comfortable enough to check me? And so I still walked around like that. And I remember getting that text on my phone. This is only like a week or two later after being pulled in that office. And I get a text from Adam Ward and he's telling me, hey, we're going to have to let you go. I'm sorry. Keep in contact. That offer for rehab's still on the table. Come through. If you ever need someone to talk to or hang out with, like, I'm here for you. Please use my number. And so they said HR is going to fire you before the next break. And I remember opening up my backpack and I'm in my cubicle and throwing putting my phone in my backpack. And as I opened it up, I remember seeing used needles, new needles, a bunch of dope, different baggies, scales. And somehow, like, it's crazy because there's even a pistol in there. And I don't like guns. I don't do guns. I don't do weapons. But I remember acquiring a pistol because I was going to sell it after work cheap for more than I bought it for. You know what I'm saying? Get it for a little dope, flip it for $500. And so, but it really hit me. It really hit me when I opened up my backpack and I seen the gun, the dope, the drugs, the money. And I was like, this makes sense why I'm about to get fired. Absolutely. Like, I'm in my cubicle with all this stuff. And I started thinking about how my life spiraled. I started thinking about, I thought I can drink. Turns out I'm an alcoholic. I thought I could do coke. Turns out I can't do coke, right? Now I'm back on meth, smoking, just shooting. This is the same story. We know how this plays out. So I'm fired now. And what do you think that does to somebody, right? Now we're hitting the block 24/7. Yeah. There's no turn down time. I don't have to be presentable. I don't have to be this. Like, I can get high all time of the day. Like, we're really turning up. Somehow I lasted 5 or 6 months, and then I ended up getting caught, and I ended up going to prison. Okay? I ended up going to prison.
Because you had enough points on the system
Because I had
from
enough
the prior.
Yes.
Oh.
You can only get so many points.
So many. That's what they told me.
And then
no
you
more
gotta
slaps.
go. Exactly.
Yeah, they're like, hey, unfortunately.
You should get sentenced to a year and a day.
Yep.
You gotta go.
You gotta go upstate. And so that was my first time. I've probably done a total of 5 years served, right? Jail and prison. But this time I got sentenced to 24 months. All I have is drug crimes and like trespassing or like a small theft from a store, right? But that's all I got. So I had no person to person, so I qualified for minimum, right? I stayed good this whole time in prison. Stayed sober. I knew what I wanted. You did?
Okay. Time cut.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I went over to Sandy Am. Sandy Am was really cool. I liked it because I was like the only place that like everybody smoked. In the facility, you're not supposed to, but like literally people are just lighting up at their beds. It's a dorm unit, and I don't want to blow up the spot too much, but it was a really cool place, right? It was a really cool place. So then I ended up over at the Portland prison, but I remember the thing that killed me the most.
CRCI,
yeah, is walking to the urinal or something in the middle of the night, and you're walking across that little tile floor, and they tell you don't count the days that you have left. but I would count it every single day. And I was thinking, this really sucks, right? Prison wasn't hard for me, but it was hard the fact that I knew I was wasting my potential. And I think about this conversation I had with myself. I was sitting there, and it's the same conversation I had about 20 times, okay? And I was thinking to myself, when I get out, I'm going to do good. When I get out, I'm going to do this. And I was like, and I remember looking around, I paused, and I looked around, and I realized I wasn't talking to nobody besides myself. And I was thinking, and why the hell am I lying? Why am I lying, right? If I'm with my buddies, it's one thing you're in there, you're with your friends, like, oh yeah, when I get out, I got like a car, I got this. Like, we're trying to show off. But I'm literally talking to myself, why am I lying? And I started thinking, and I remember being on my bunk, and I thought, what do I want to do with my life? So let's be real for a second, since it's only me in the room right now. And I was like, I want to do music. I've always done music since 11 years old. I just stopped doing music when I got on the hard drugs and homeless. Because it was obviously you're not going to be recording in the doorway. And I still wrote music every time I was locked up. And so I was like, okay, so I want to do music. And I started doing this evaluation. It's like my revelation of how it all came together. And this conversation piece is very important to me because I'm sitting there and I thought, what's my best chance at music? And I thought, I've never done music sober. Never, even at a young age. Always drinking, always smoking, performing at the old Copper Penny at 16. Or drinking 40s, getting snuck to the side to perform, like all the old rock and roll pizza, the Froggies off of 122nd in Washington or whatever. So it's like there's all these places I've always been drinking or smoking while doing music. I said, I've never done music sober. So that is how my sobriety comes together, because when I first got clean and sober, I did it for music. It was the only flame that continued to burn in the dark, right? I didn't get sober for recovery. I thought recovery was corny. I was like, I don't want to do that. That would seem like a punishment. Recovery? Like, if I don't get my meeting slip signed, I'm going in. Dude. So I had this whole thought of classified everybody together. Recovery, corny, garbage, and not me. No thanks. Keep your stuff over there.
I just went to get off parole.
Yes. I've seen. Then you'd get it. Yeah, I'm 6s and 7s, but I don't need approval or any credit. Been so close to my demons so long. If one came up and sat right here, how much you wanna bet that I could pet it, huh? Things I regret I've done. Rarely see a setting sun, but take up space outshining the child that I never loved. The enemy got this fucked up kind of tendency. So when I hear that phrase enemy, I only hear enemy. And listen, this is the craziest part, cause all the things that break me apart just made me a part of something bigger. It's kinda like a flame from a spark, put down the maker's mark. Ironic, cause now I'm making my mark. Like wow, kinda wish I would've changed from the start. But if someone handed me keys and just gave me a car, would I have learned to navigate through all the snakes in the marsh? Or be as grateful as I am I even made it this far? I doubt it. Yeah, I'm looking up to space and the stars, using my pain and my scars like it was paint, this is art. See, I'd rather spend my life at least searching for the light than spend another day in the dark. And said that's why I pray when the morning comes, forgive me for my ways. Yeah, that's why I pray.
And so I got sober for music, right? So I got sober for music. Nowadays, I stay sober because of the life that recovery provided. I refuse to give up. Recovery has provided me everything I have ever wanted, right? There's still levels to it, but it still provided me everything I have ever wanted. Got sober for music, stay sober because of recovery. So it's funny how it does that. You start giving yourself a chance, you're sober, and you're like, actually, recovery's really awesome.
It's actually the most important thing in my life.
It's the most important thing.
Because without it, you don't have any music.
You don't have anything.
You don't have a home.
You don't have anything.
You don't. I don't.
You sold it for some dope.
Yeah.
You don't have anything. So I'm in there, I'm having this conversation, and I'm like, okay, I've never done music sober. This is my best chance. Because my whole mentality in prison, like when I get out, I'm going to do everything different. If there's an easy way, I'm going to figure out the hard route. Because I want to do it hard. Not hard backwards or anything like that, but don't always take the easy alternative and cut corners. Put in the work. So I'm sitting there, and I started thinking, and I thought to myself, I owe it to my 9-year-old boy. The 9-year-old boy inside me, I owe it, right? To myself.
Right.
These are the dreams. Who am I to rob him because of addiction, because I wanted to get high, because of some feeling, right? What about that little boy? I owe him a chance, right? Who's been through all that stuff. I owe him. And so I thought to myself, I would rather give it my all, right? And find out I'm not good enough. I'd rather be 50, 60, 70 years old. If I didn't do my dreams that I wanted to do, I would have closure knowing I wasn't good enough. I'm okay with not being good enough. So many people are not good at a lot of things. That's life. That's reality. Right? So I told myself, go out there, give it a try. If you're not good enough, that's okay. I could live with that. I could sleep with that. Right? But if I do not give it an honest try,
you'll never know.
Imagine the resentment. I don't want to get old and think, what if? We all have friends that could have played in the NBA. We all have friends that could have done this at a professional level, right? Yeah. We all know somebody, oh, yeah, I could have done that. And you're like, dude, why didn't you do it then? They're like, oh, I didn't want to. And you're like, you didn't want to? Okay. You know?
Yeah.
So here's that. So I didn't want to be that guy, that resentment. I didn't want to grow old. So I would have closure knowing I wasn't good enough. So either it's going to work out or at the end of the day, I'm going to be okay. So that's what it all comes down to. If anybody ever sees my logo for Skyler Ray, right, you'll see a microphone with wings. And it's because music gave me an opportunity. It saved my life. Therefore, it's my guardian angel. Music gave me a shot at recovery. Beautiful. And so it's a microphone with wings, and it goes back. That logo emulates that conversation I had that day when I was sitting in prison. And it gave me that hope.
Crazy?
What?
Our logo is a microphone, too.
Is it? See?
With a mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's crazy, right? It saves lives. And it saved my life. So I get out. I did have one reservation. Okay. If not, I would have counted all my clean time in prison. I got December 6, 2018 is my clean date. But I got out November 30th, 2 days after I turned 28, 2018. And I get out. My reservation is, if anybody's listening, I thought to myself, I felt like I went to prison as a boy and I got out as a man. And I felt like I had a clear understanding. I felt like I was finally ready for the world. So that was like my rite of passage, right? Survived prison, got out. And I told myself, when I get out, like I was good. We were cleaning up homeless camps. I didn't drink. Everybody else on there was getting high, doing this. I didn't do any of that. But I told myself, when I successfully get out, and I got out down at what's the place over on 1st and Burnside right there next to the rescue mission? I forgot the shoreline. So I'm at the shoreline. Mm-hmm. I lived in all the Central City buildings, most of them. So I'm at the shoreline, but I told myself my reservation is that I could have one drink. I'm going to have one drink, right? I'm going to have me an AMF. It's my favorite drink. It's the strongest drink.
Adios, motherfucker.
Yes. I'm going to have an
blue
AMF.
One.
Yes. I'm going to have an AMF, and I'm going to have me a nice cigar. I owe it to myself, right? Because like I said, I didn't get clean yet for recovery. I got clean to get my life together, like music. And so that was my thinking. And I remember I was in there and I had all these big plans, all these big everything, right? And so I'm sitting there. And so my buddy called me up. I'm at the shoreline and I was good for the few days. You're back in your whole drug addiction, your stomping grounds. I'm sitting there. They say people, places, and things, right? Have all three of those being put down there. But I had no other alternative. I had nowhere to go. And I'm sitting there. And my buddy calls me, and I'm like, yo, where you at? And I'm over at the bar, and I was like, yep, it's about to go down.
Oh, no.
And I was like, yep, I'll be right there. But I thought to myself, I'm going to have that drink. So I get out. I was, like I said, clean the whole time in prison, clean when I got out. We're like 5-6 days in, and I'm there, and I have that drink. I'm smoking a cigar, and I'm like, this is pretty awesome. I got some good tunes in my ear. I'm feeling pretty good. Life is good. I'm out. I'm in shape, of course. I just got out, right? You know? And I'm like, I'm on the max, and I'm rolling down on the max trying to get back home. And I just had the one drink. But still, I had that one drink, and when like your lips start to get a little numb, your face starts to get a little fuzzy, I'm in there. I haven't been under the influence for a second, so I'm rubbing on my face. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Feeling good. I just got out. Like, life is great. And I thought to myself, and I was like, oh, wait, I'm not supposed to be using or any substance. Why I'm in this, that's part of the lease on the building that I'm staying at, right? The free housing. And I was like, oh, and I was like, I got my keys. So I'll walk up, and if the guy's at the front desk, I'll smoke a cigarette till he turns around, and then I'll just sneak to the side door. And then I thought to myself, when I said the word sneak, and I'm glad I used that terminology, because that really set off alarms in my head, right? Because sneak means to have to do something you're not supposed to be doing, because if not, you wouldn't be sneaking, right? You're cheating, you're falsifying, whatever, right? So here I am, and I said sneak. And it set off that alarm, and I thought to myself, Skyler, you know how this tape plays out. You know how slippery of a slope it is. You about to lose your housing? What about that conversation? I thought you really wanted to do it for music. Were you just lying to yourself? If you're not going to get it together now, when are you going to get it together? And it went back to that conversation, and I chose the music, right? I thought to myself, okay, I went back, I got in, I didn't get in trouble, and I remember laying in bed feeling miserable that I cheated myself. I couldn't even be honest to myself. I want to be an honest person to everybody, but if you can't even be honest to yourself, that's lame. And so I wasn't feeling good. That was December 5th, 2018. My clean date starts December 6th, 2018. I only had that one drink, but it was enough for me to realize that was down a road that I didn't want to go to.
Yeah.
That's the same. I got high one time and went and told on myself. I was so mad at myself. Yeah.
And it does not feel good. It does not feel good. I remember feeling so motivated that when I got out, I bought a bunch of poster boards from the Dollar Tree. I wrote down all my goals. I bought four poster boards. One was my dream goals, right? I'm a music artist at heart, right? And I'm talking everything, like a song with Eminem, open up for Kevin Gates, like the Super Bowl halftime show, like all these crazy goals that's embarrassing to say out loud, right? You're like, oh yeah.
I wanted to play for the Harlem Globetrotters.
See?
My mom told me I was the wrong sex and the wrong color. Okay.
But these are dream goals, right? But it sounds so silly saying it out loud. So I wrote down all my dream goals, and on the next poster board, I put it next to it was all my long-term goals. 1 to 3 years, it could be 5 years, because you don't wake up tomorrow and I'm performing at the halftime Super Bowl show, got a song with Eminem, open up for Kevin. Like, that just doesn't happen. How do you get there?
Yeah.
And so I wrote down all my goals of 1 to 3 years, 5 years on that. And then on the next poster board over, imagine these are small rooms, right? At the Central City Concern, like your bed's half your room. You got shared bathrooms, right?
A little bit bigger than a cell.
Right, exactly. Except for you could cook in there and like smoke cigarettes, right? And I got the dream goals, I got the long-term goals, and I got my short-term goals, right? Because we got what are things I can do today? What are things today? To be platinum, to be a platinum artist on my dream goal, I have to release an album and do the marketing campaigns. But to start that, I got to find the beat. I got to start writing lyrics. These are dreams I can do today. And so those are all goals that I'd even do a couple gimmies. Like, I got to be able to buy a studio, save up, open a bank account, put $50 in there, do this, and right. So it started I threw a couple things I already did in there since getting out, and it built that confidence. I got used to checking it off. I was excited. It became a game. A hunt, like trying to get to the next level.
Right.
And so I had all these, but another important thing I did was I put a poster board on my door. My door that opens up to let me out to the rest of the apartments is to go out, right? So I put it on the inside of my door. That way there was no way I was leaving my room without seeing this. And what I had on there was everything I ever loved. There was names of people I loved, family members, dreams, passion, right? And so even if I'm just opening it to glance in or walk by, I would catch a name. I would catch like music. I would catch that. So every time I left that room, I could stay focused. And I wrote down everything that I would lose if I went back to addiction on that poster board. And so that was always there. So my room was surrounded by goals and dreams.
I love that.
Right? And so fast forward, not too much, but I met this girl probably like a couple months out. She is now my fiance, my best friend, my partner in crime, my soulmate, and honestly, the talent of everything. She is the superstar. I do all the talking and run my mouth and do all this because she's not in recovery, but she's an advocate, right? She's the type that could have half a cider and then just let it sit there. And I'm like cleaning up my soda cans at dinner. And I was like, yo, you want this? Toss. I'm like, there's like a drink message. So I just wanted it to have a little taste. And I'm like,
What's wrong with you?
Dumb. Yes. So that's the type of person she is, right?
Yeah.
She doesn't like smoke. She doesn't do anything else. Every once in a while, just a little sip with her dinner, just for flavor.
Those
Weirdo,
people,
right?
I'm like,
Weirdo.
Yeah. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, you're just wasting stuff. Don't you want to get messed up? And so I met her. So there's this girl. Her name is Kayla Mulcahy. And so I had this guy that I was in prison with, and he wanted to be my music manager. I've never had luck with that because I don't want to give someone a cut of what I've earned when I know I can outwork them. I know the work I put in. My motto is you don't have to be the best. You just have to be willing to outwork the person next to you.
Amen. Hard work pays off.
Hard work pays off. And so I'm like, I'm not going to give you a piece of my pie or my cake when I know I'm going to work way harder than you. I'm going to earn every opportunity. But I told him, hit me up when you get out. I'll see how you do for a week. Because we used to walk laps. Everybody tells stories and dreams. And
at CRCI?
Yep.
Play basketball, then walk some laps.
Walk some laps, right? And so he ended up meeting this girl, and his car was down, right? He always drives a car. His car, we ended up getting out of prison. I didn't think I was going to have to follow up with him, but we ended up getting out a couple days within each other. And I was like, I never even asked him when he was getting out, but I just told him, sure, hit me up when you get out. And so he hit me up, and I was like, cool, let's give it a week. And his car happened to be down, so he was taking the bus. And my fiance at the time, right? She wasn't my fiance at the time. Nowadays, like the girl I'm talking about, her car, she just got into a wreck, so she's been taking the bus. And so they both happened on the bus. He started talking to her, and he's, hey, I'm a manager. Check out my artist's new song and video. I'm in it. Check it out. And she's, oh, I'm a singer. And he's, okay, let me get your number. I'll pass it to the artist. You guys should work together, because she sang something on the bus for him, showed him real quick. And so they gave me the number, and we ended up, so I hit her up, and I was like, hey, let's talk music. I'll buy you something to eat. The first time ever meeting my fiance is at the Originals on 6th and Anarchy right downtown, Portland, Oregon. That is the first time I've ever seen the love of my life. And I'm sitting there. But
downtown again.
Downtown. Except for when throwing fish to a player, okay?
Amen.
So we're sitting there. She comes in, and remember, I told myself I'm going to do everything the hard way. So I told her no flirting. You're used to hooking up with all the girls. Like, knock it off. Don't do that, right? So she comes in, and I have a notebook on the table with a pen. I have a notebook on my side with a pen. And, you know, I come up, like, she comes in, and I'm like, hey, let's talk our dreams. And I bought her dinner. It was a very safe and friendly conversation about music dreams. And we talked about, I was like, oh, you sing? I was like, oh, I rap, but I just got out of prison. But I'm getting right back to it. And I was like, yeah.
Actually, the prison kind of gives you some clout for the rapping. I'm just saying,
Right.
At least you got a record.
At least I got
You're not some white privileged white boy.
Yes.
You know what I'm
You got a
saying? You
story
got
to tell.
stories. Yeah.
You got a story to
I
tell.
think it makes you legit.
Especially when talking about, like, the content that I do, right? Because it matches. And so we're sitting there, and I find it really special because we're at this diner. We're just two people that just met. Oh, you're a singer? Oh, I'm a rapper. And I was like, okay, you know, I'm actually shooting a music video next week if you want to stop by. But we actually talked about music. Like, we could record together. Let's make a song. And I was like, you ever done shows? She's, oh, I've done other stuff. Like, my lady is background in opera, classically trained, studied, like, music theory in Italy, lived in, like, Italy for a year. Like,
Wow.
legit, real deal, right? Like, I thought I was good, right? No, she's the superstar, right? And so, like, we're talking, but she's never really took it to this level or really pursued, like, something solo. She's trying to get into, like, opera, do all this different stuff. And I was like, we could do shows, and we started writing down our music dreams together. And nowadays, we are touring the country together. We are traveling in and out the country. We do music for a living. Everything we wrote down on that notebook as strangers, on that thing we have done together. We have recorded albums. We have hundreds of thousands of followers online, tens of millions of plays on our music. Like,
That's
it has
fantastic.
taken off, and it has been incredible.
That's called The Promises.
From concrete rises, spent my life surviving, living, dreaming, dying, rising to
You know what the
the
going on.
sky.
Rise from the gravel, made it out the streets. Victim of the gavel, making ends meet. No Zach, no Cody. Life was not sweet. I brought a bigger table so that everyone can eat. Growing up tough, young and defiant. Made it out the bottom, praise to the highest. I'm so self-reliant, my touch be the Midas. I'm standing 6 feet with the heart of a giant. You know when the wind blows, stand down on your 10 toes. Stay out the windows, bullet fly, you get bulldozed. I was trapping out apartments, I was running up a lot. Weapons hidden under garbage, and I'm beating all the charges. You need the wheel to drive, but you ain't never drove it. Riding around with this Elsa, these diamonds they frozen. Trapping like Griselda, balling like DeRozan.
And so it's like we did it, and now it's like we're engaged. We even had the privilege to be able to fly out to, we flew out to Chicago. I wanted this dream dog forever. It's an English bulldog, right? And I was like, I want one. And then finally, after a few years, oh, they're expensive. Okay, let's plan. Oh, they have health issues. Let's figure out the right breeder. Found a breeder. I was excited. My name came up. He's, I got this dog for you. He sells them for $5,000. But here's the thing is, actually, they have a policy. If you buy a dog from them, they'll take the dog back, no questions asked. And so my friend, which is still my friend, what up, Maria? Hey, she had this bulldog, and she went through a breakup and just didn't feel right with, she had a child and works long hours. Just feel like it wasn't a fit anymore. So he calls me up and said, hey, I got this bulldog. She's 2 years old. If you want her. And I was like, yeah, where do I gotta go? He's like, Chicago. And I was like, cool, done deal. Hopped off the phone, booked the flights that moment. First thing I did, before I even texted my lady. Text her, I was like, hey, we're going to Chicago. And she's okay. She's like, are you sure Chicago? I was like, yeah, that's what he said. And I texted, he's, no, they live in Wisconsin. And I was like, I'm renting a car. We're going to Wisconsin. And I tell that because these are things that, like, the privileges and how great sobriety is in recovery.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I've even knocked off a dream goal. Like, we opened up for Kevin Gates at Spokane Arena. Like, thousands of people. Like, these are, like, life coming together. And I owe it to my recovery.
Yeah. You owe it to yourself.
I owe it to that little 9-year-old boy.
There you go.
That little 9-year-old boy. And I'll tell you what. The coolest thing about this all is it's not about the millions of plays. It's not about making a living off of music and all the nice fancy stuff I got, etc. Right? The coolest thing about this is that my significant other has never seen me under the influence. She has never seen me under the influence. You get high one time or drink, that's ruined. You can never honestly say that again.
Yeah. My child's never seen me high.
Amen. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah,
she's 31.
32.
32.
Isn't that better
yeah.
than any money, than any accomplishments, than anything that personal items?
Can I tell you, my story's different, climbing the corporate ladder, but it took me until, I'm really glad to hear you being so young and talking about the abandonment issues. We were just talking about this today because I was talking to my aunt for an hour and a half. And what I said to her, and I didn't understand, didn't even deal with my childhood until 56. Okay, I literally worked so hard and was ashamed of going to prison. Even though in an AA meeting I was cool, I said it didn't bother me, but I kept my career here and that here. But I didn't know I had abandonment issues. When I had a mental, physical, and I was sick breakdown, and the doctor sent me to the psychiatrist. And I'm like, what the fuck? My eardrum's blown. I'm tired. And she said, tell me about your childhood. And I was like, my parents divorced at 9 months, and I was left with a nanny. And then she asked me the hardest question anyone's asked me, and she said, has anyone ever touched you? And I never talked about it until 56. And then I said, the nannies from 5 to 11. And I said, I still don't understand why my parents didn't keep me, even though they had me. And then I went to school. They left my family. Then she sounds to me like you have a lot of abandonment issues. And now I'm back in therapy again. And learning about detachment, avoidance, and so many things that stem from your childhood.
It's crazy, isn't it?
And what's really crazy is I've broken every cycle with my daughter, but it's out of fear. Meaning she asked, can she go to so-and-so's house to spend the night? And I would just automatically say, no, but they can come here. And she'd be like, always, they got to come here. Why can't I go to their house? And I said, our house is clean. We're good. They can come to our house. And I let her go. You let me go to the Girl Scouts house and Shauna's. That's like the only. And I said, Girl Scouts is good. Shauna's good. But so many things we do that we don't know.
We don't know.
And like, it's crazy. And the podcast where Peter stresses about the podcast. He's the technical side, right?
I'm the geek behind the whole thing.
And I'm like, it's going to be fine. Don't worry about it. But I stress
I'm looking at numbers and graphs.
I stress about the job, right? We don't know how to do social media. Seriously, we don't know how to do Instagram, right? And it's so funny. I'm like, the podcast is fine. And that came up from, we were here for Father's Day, a year ago, Father's Day. And I'm like, is there anything you haven't done that you want to do? Oh, I want to do a podcast. I was like, me too. I said, you can be Regis, I can be Kathleen, And it's actually probably, it's hard as far as time goes, but it's been one of the most rewarding things. Because we meet people like.
Thank you.
We keep meeting them. And we did this show on this other guy. And literally, you got to do laundry. You got to go grocery shopping. Literally, since that podcast, I get to do laundry.
You get to.
I get to cook a meal.
Yes.
I don't have a lot of money right now because I took some time off work, but I got to go grocery shopping today.
It's a blessing.
In my car.
Right.
In my fucking car. And it really has changed my perspective.
I could see
on
it in your
so
eyes.
many things.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and I too went to prison, and it's almost 30 years since I've been out. I didn't have to go back, thank God.
Yeah.
I got a violation though. That's how I ended up at CRCI. Yeah, and I watched the basketball game every night.
Yeah.
And if you walked around the lap thing 4 times with a dude, you were like together. And I was like, come to get a man? Yeah, no. Crazy.
I have a question for you regarding that you had gone into the jail or been picked up multiple times, in and out, you said, in and out. In our current situation in Portland, that's one of the things that they've been talking about is you take someone off the street, but then there's nothing after
There's
that.
no treatment.
Yeah.
So if that had been, or what do you think would have kept you from going in and out? If you had, if they would have taken you and put you right into a treatment center and then if there was a path for you, would you think you would have been able to bypass some of those times, those in and outs?
Honestly, I know it doesn't, everybody's program's different, and I know everything works different, right? Because different people's rock bottoms are different. Everybody's perspective, evaluation, or reward is different for other people. I honestly think if I would have maybe went to prison sooner, just because I needed that clean time. I needed the 6 months and getting out and like doing this and that. No, I needed to be actual sit down for a year plus and get my mind off the drugs, get my mind off. And I know a lot of people might hate that because I'm not saying somebody messes up, just stick them in prison. I'm saying what worked for me because the question's about me.
Same here.
I think that was it. Having that sober time to be able to work on my cognitive skills, to be able to evaluate my situations, my hope, my dreams, my aspirations. That was very important. That part of that process was walking across that dorm floor, across those tiles, counting those days, madam counting those days, going pee. I remember just the whole feeling every single night. It was the same. Waking up at 2, 3 a.m., go pee, walking across there thinking, damn, 250 more days, 249 more days. If you do that for 2 years, you get sick and tired of it. But also it gave me time to really have that conversation with myself about what do you want to do when you get out? How are you going to do that, right? Yeah. Because when you're in prison, the whole world stops.
And you have no control.
Stops. The whole world keeps spinning, right? And so I think that works for me. I think that would really help for a lot of people is now for the general public, I think addressing the mental health issues. I think addressing mental health,
Amen.
I think addressing everybody's situation is different. Some people deal with child problems. Some people deal with a lot of issues like abandonment issues. And I think a lot of those don't get addressed with. You take away, like we talked about, I don't know if that was before we started on the podcast or not, but the drugs are like the earmuffs. That's how we deal with it because we're broken and we're hurting in life. Yeah. So when you take those earmuffs off, you get the noise back.
Right,
well,
exactly.
It's time to work on the noise and actually fix the problem.
Yeah.
And so I think mental health is something that gets swept under the rug because we don't want to address that. A lot of our society and our community is really not in good shape.
Yeah. I feel that's the missing link. They're starting to provide that more and more, but that's the missing link is
it's like about Fora.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They pull people off the street. They didn't do it with Measure 110. Now they're back to doing it again. But then once they're pulled off, what's after that? There's no help. Where's the lifeline that will take you
Where's the
further?
real professionals and where's the resources to be able to handle it? Because here's the thing.
Agree.
People are like, I get drugs make you do crazy things, but there's a lot more people out there that like, that's just like the added. Like they're legit have stuff wrong with them. They don't know how to cope. No one has taken the time to show their crazy little butt how to do things. You know what I'm saying? Or work through issues or even take a second to listen to them. People don't want to listen because they're high out of their mind or crazy. And it's like, yo, let him talk. He has a voice. What's wrong?
Yeah.
What's okay? Let's help you with this.
I agree with you. So I was ashamed of going to prison. Yeah. I'm so proud now of my time out. But I do believe had I not got the time out.
Yeah. I'd probably still be wilding out.
I don't know about that, but I don't know.
Yeah.
But I needed that time out. And for me, when she put me back through treatment, right? And the same day, the lady said from the treatment center, Julie, you're going to have to find a meeting and stay there. But I actually believe you can make it.
Yeah.
Right? And then the next day, the parole officer says, get the slip signed 3 days a week. And I went to a meeting and I stumbled across this meeting. And for an escort,
Yeah.
or whatever you want to call it. Going to a gay men's meeting was the best place. They didn't want to sleep with me.
Yeah. It's safe.
Hey, you figure out your thing.
Right? No. So,
Yeah.
and I stayed there for 6 months, and I'm off parole now.
Yeah.
Right? And I'm like, I'll just stay. Like, I was scared. I was scared not to stay.
Yeah.
And it took a long time for me not to be scared. It took a long time. But I voted wrong, and I'll be the first to admit it. That whole thing, pick you up, put you in treatment when there's no treatment facilities available. Let them do some time and get sober first, and then go to treatment in there, go to treatment out.
Yeah.
But the police say they can't keep up with the drugs. So there has to be something else. I want to hear one more thing.
Yeah.
I want to hear about your music, like. You just said you're on. I want to hear about the music that you make.
I got you.
I want to hear about the tour.
Yeah.
You just said you went into a prison, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Because I've been scared, and Peter's going to go with me.
My man Peter.
Yeah.
I was saying I had to fill out all this paperwork to go back. The first time I didn't need any paperwork. They just put me right in there.
Look, I still know my number, 813-6391. Okay, put some money on my books. Yeah, no.
It's like, why? How come there's a process now to get in? Like before you, like I couldn't get out.
Exactly.
The Matrix. Once you pass the Matrix point, you can't get Matrixed out.
Yeah. So, if anybody is wondering, me and my lady, Kayla Mulcahy, and myself, Skyler Ray, we are currently on tour at the Road to Recovery tour. It's a tour. This is our third year doing it. Before starting this year, we've done over 60 events around the country. Now I believe we just passed the 70th show. If not, we're just shy of it around the country. Tour is just kicking off. It's a tour that me and my lady do. We headline it. We have no other artists. Sometimes when we do like hometown shows here in Portland, like we'll bring an artist. We have Ender One come, Coaster come, things like that. But we go around, so we get into rehabs around the country and we put on a show. Me and my lady, we got a tour van. This year we've added our lovely little pound cake, our English bulldog I told you about, and tours with us. But we get in there and we set up all the equipment, and I speak. I tell the story that you guys just heard. That's why I said, how long you guys got? Because I know the story.
Look, a lifetime.
A lifetime. So I speak, and then we perform for an hour. And a lot of my music, so my lady sings, I do hip hop. But if anybody has heard my music, or if you have it, I don't rap about the normal stuff. Once I got sober and I found out who I was, I quit trying to show off. So I don't rap about like sex or gangs,
bitches, hoes, prisons, the rap I don't like.
I'm vulnerable.
Yeah.
I'm very vulnerable. This is where I went wrong. I had a drug addiction. This is what I'm doing now. And it's really inspiring, right?
I love that.
And it's funny, once you become authentic, the music took off. Millions, tens of millions of plays.
There's enough people with bitches and hoes and money and shit. Yeah.
And we get into these centers and we provide a positive message. It's really cool. So the first 2 years, the Road to Recovery tour was actually sponsored by 4D. My man Tony V and all them. They sponsored it.
What a small world.
Crazy, right?
We're fully self-supporting of ourselves right now, but we just got a 503c, and we're hoping that someone's going to invest in us, and we can work just a little bit less.
And that's the thing. So look, we do that. So this third year, we have tour sponsors. Shout out to Kim Willer's one of our tour sponsors. She's a local real estate agent here in Portland. We got Steve's Garage. We got Paige Mulcahy, which is another local real estate agent. We have All City Print, which is based out of Vancouver, Washington. I'm plugging them in. Yes, I am. Vancouver, Washington, for all your print needs, all your embroidery needs. Make sure you go over to them. Friendly.
And just remember, you heard it on our podcast.
Yes, let's go. And also 4D is back for the third year sponsoring us. So it's really cool. We get a chance to do it. It lifts off the burden of having to pay for everything. We still pay a lot out of pocket because tour is tens and tens of thousands of dollars, right? Because you're on the road for months.
Yeah.
I love it.
But we get a chance to get in these treatment centers and work with these people. We've been in the jails, prisons, and we get a chance to listen to these people and hear their story and hear them out. And it's really cool because everywhere we go, we provide everybody in the audience gets a free tour t-shirt. with the full tour list. So if they're in a treatment center, they could look back at this T-shirt and be like, yo, I was there on 6/27 when Skyler Ray came through. Look.
I love it.
That's awesome.
So they get a free tour T-shirt, a free signed album, a free signed poster, a Road to Recovery wristband, and a Road to Recovery sticker. We provide all this for everybody in attendance. Last year alone, we met thousands of addicts, and we handed out thousands of free tour bags.
Peter's got a mug.
Hey, Peter got a mug.
Look, we got T-shirts.
Yeah.
Peter's ironed on the
them all.
decal.
But
For real.
So we're
like,
in early days.
we're-
But someday
we're
we'd like to be
doing
able
it,
to
though.
Yeah. And
do the
that's-
same thing.
And that's the thing. And so we print all of our own stuff. All City is definitely helping us with, they print out some of our tour shirts this year. And they also do all our embroidery for our hats. Because they're really great at what they do. Shout out to John, Lindsay, the Hall City print team. But we make a lot of our own merch. We have our own, we do the screen press, all that stuff like that.
I love it.
But we do everything and we hit the road and we get to meet addicts all over the country. And it is beautiful to be able to get into these treatment centers. They've never experienced anything like this.
Yeah.
Like you go in there and you're like, we literally set up the full equipment. We're rocking out like full songs. I'm rapping, my lady singing. Like, so our next show, if you guys are free, is the 28th at the Gresham Smith Center.
Oh.
Okay? 5 to 8.
First of all, we'll publish it on our website because our website is badass.
Let's do it.
Our website's.
It was at the
Don't
where
be
now?
mad, Tony or Amanda, but our website is Peter is the geeks of
man.
all geeks.
Hey.
And
If
we
you need any web work,
You know what's cool is I wish I would have been a geek. I wish I would have kicked it with the geeks, right? Because as you get older, you realize the geeks run the world.
Yeah.
Like
I'm
they
learn-
are everything.
look at
you
and
need somebody.
I'm learning how to set up the mics.
Geeks are like that is like a badge of honor to be a geek. The
Can
way
I tell
look
you?
at it,
So good at it.
That's the
We're
thing.
on Spotify, Apple.
knowledge is power.
We are
Yeah.
everywhere. We just suck at Instagram, and we're getting better,
You'll get
folks.
there. You'll get
yeah,
there.
we're gonna
Yeah,
get there.
we'll get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like it's really cool, an awesome journey. And so it's at the Smith Center.
Smith. Okay.
Gresham Smith Center 4D. It's our first hometown show, which I think is tour stop number 6. It is going to be in all ages. Some of these events we get booked. They're private bookings for like treatment centers and things like that. Obviously, people can't attend a public show at the jail. You can't just go to the jail.
We're trying to go through Clarence right now, right?
There is a way to do it, but you don't want to go down that road.
You don't want to go down that road. It's free.
Between me and Skyler, we can give you some tips. No,
And so they got the Smith Center. It's going to be free all ages, right? So bring your
Nice.
kids. No need to get a sitter. On top of that, it's going to be free pizza, free drinks, free cotton candy, free snow cones. We're going to have free door prizes. We're also going to do a 50-50 raffle to raise some money for 4D, but also obviously the other 50 goes to whoever wins.
no, I love that.
We're going to have a merch table. I'm going to be telling my story. On top of that, me and Kayla are going to be performing a bunch of new music. I also going to have some local speakers speaking at the end. So this is what we do. Our hometown shows are always the best. If you are listening to this, we always hit capacity. We go over capacity. They have to open up the garages. Our hometown shows, we used to do shows at local clubs and bars. We would always break the attendance record. And it would be crazy because I'd be in recovery and we would have 300 people in recovery at a bar rocking out because they'd let me get the club for free. And
Is
they
this
would love
June
it.
28th or July 28th?
June 28th. June 28th. So
That's a
it's
couple days.
yeah, so it is going down at the Gresham Smith Center.
Wow.
So
okay.
I'm super excited. And if you guys are catching this a later date, I will get you some more local shows. Is that okay?
Yes.
No, that's
Okay.
fine. Also, I'll get your website from you too,
Oh,
so
yeah,
we can.
I
and,
got you.
And
Put your
email me.
links.
Which is official Skyler Ray. That is SkyleRay. Officialskylerray.com. So we have, so that's the first local show. And then we have, what is it? We will be back. Oh, August 10th, we will be at 4D Hillsboro.
Nice.
Out there. Same thing, food, drinks, all that free. August 16th is a closed date. It's the youth center. That is a closed date because we got to keep the kids safe.
Absolutely.
So, and then we have Recovery Out Loud. I'm just saying the Portland dates, which I'm plugging. 4D Recovery. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. They sponsor
Absolutely.
the Road to Recovery Tour, 3rd year in a row. September 27th, we'll be at Clackamas 4D. Okay.
Love it.
So that's going to be another one. Also, September 6th is going to be Recover Out Loud. It's going to be a great event. We packed out about 400 people. We were at one of the ballrooms. I can't remember where at. But they always get excited and they always jump off, right?
Yeah.
I love it.
My Portland people are incredible. I don't know. Are you guys familiar at all with the We to Recover brand?
No, I don't think so.
That's one of our clothing brands, me and my lady.
Oh.
It has been insane. Like we've sold over 16,000 shirts and hoodies, and it is exploded.
And it's called what again?
We to recover. # we to recover. So that's like our brand.
Like your shorts?
Like our shorts. Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
So we have it like shirts, hoodies, beanies, tank tops, everything, and it has exploded.
I love it.
Like it is insane. It's simple. We also have the Dear Fentanyl, Stop Killing My Friends. Music is my DOC shirts. The Stop Lying, We to Recover shirts. But because as a music artist, you got to find a way to make passive income, and on top of that, you got to be able to we're not living off stream money, right?
Right. Neither are we.
It takes a while to get there. So you got to figure out. I'm a natural hustler. I sold dope, then I sold credit card processing, then I sold dope, and now I sell clothes.
That is so funny because I answered the phones for the escort service, right? No. Then I took calls for the answering service, which is in the building right outside O'Brien Square, which is now going to be named after Darcel. So maybe it'll have a new flair. Yeah. But yeah, they're redoing it right now.
Okay. Yeah, I went down there. We just did the rappel for 4D.
Oh, nice.
Down the centric Hoyt. But yeah, it's all tore down. It's all.
Can I tell you what I love about Tony?
Go ahead.
He's got his hands in everything, and it's good.
Yeah.
It is really good. The mentor class.
Yeah.
Robertson, Jared.
Yeah.
Amanda, 4D.
Yeah.
Is some good shit.
I don't know. It's a powerhouse.
It is the chronic in recovery.
It is. Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. And shout out to you, Tony, for real. There's a guy in my group, and he said this recently, and I wrote it down because it was one of his better ones. But you have to make your sobriety as attractive as you're using.
Yes.
And let me tell you, 4D is doing it.
Oh, 4D is
There was
legit.
a drag show Saturday night.
True Colors?
At True Colors.
I performed at one of them last year
for
the tour show.
And it was it killed it. We have a lot of friends there. And just shit is happening in the good.
Yeah.
If you want to embrace it, we're not a glum lot.
No.
Not at all.
That's what I performed for a glam lot.
Yeah. I'm just telling you. Glam lot. Yeah. I know Bryce and Becca. Becca was on our show.
I performed at one of their shows last year. It was at the little coffee shop because the venue things, whatever. But
the coffee shop money goes back into recovery.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yep.
The first time I went to True Colors, I will not lie. It was because they were having 50 licks ice cream. So
what's the motivation?
I met my crew, my average crew, because I got sober young.
Yeah.
And my average crew is 60 to 70.5 they roll with 20 and 40 years. And I went there and got chocolate as fuck ice cream. And I went to the drag queen show.
Yeah.
And Tony introduced Amanda.
Mm-hmm. And Amanda's awesome.
But he's Amanda from prison. And I was and I was it was that night I told Amanda that I was man, I need to merge my business skills with my sobriety skills. And this, we'll be there someday.
You just got to keep grinding. I'll tell you what, as you guys are doing it, that's the way you're supposed to. I never made
We're
money.
only 5 months in. I tell Peter all the time.
Yeah.
We've accomplished so much in 5 months.
Yes.
It's true.
And
but I think because it's a passion project of mine, it's something that I'm what is my second act? And this is it. And I think I've invested 20% into it.
Can I tell you something? That is the only way I feel the big reason why me and my lady succeeded. We literally invest everything. I don't want to talk financial on the podcast, money number wise, but it's we make money and then we invest that all back in.
Right back
the next year we make more money and we invest that back in.
But
It's
you're
insane.
happy and you're doing what you love.
But I'm loving it.
Yeah.
And we cheer and each time
and you're sharing the message
It's insane.
Like the fact that you go to prisons and give people hope.
And rehab centers around the country. It is insane. Like, we just got back from Montana. We do our hometown show. Shout out to 4D. And then we're flying out to Texas. And then it's going to go back into Idaho. We're heading out to like Pittsburgh, Philly, Connecticut. Shout out to my man, Coach Tony. He's amazing over there. He does like overdose, suicide, or overdose awareness. Overdose awareness over there. Really cool event. This will be our second year doing that. We're always like headline Hands Across the Bridge.
I love that.
There's so much cool stuff and activity, but it's like you have to invest and continuously. I don't know what I'm doing. I know how to work hard. I know how to be everywhere. I know how to run my mouth.
And what I see for myself is that everything I do, everything I did before in my corporate jobs and corporate world was for a company or for something else.
Yep.
And this is all for me. This is all 100 for us. But
Yeah,
you know,
I was going to say, I'm his bitch. Please, no, not really.
Fair
but
enough.
you know.
Fair enough. You heard it here first.
But that's how, if I look at it as my personal, in my life,
Doing
this
something
is
for
me.
you.
And this is, and that's why when we first started, you know, we're like, I can't do this without being 100% transparent and out there.
Have to.
And that was the scary, but we say this almost every show. I think people are going to get old with it, but it was like being naked. In
That's
fact,
what it
I'd
feels
rather
like.
be naked
Naked
on a
and
stage.
afraid.
Yeah, I
than-
always told my story in AA.
not to where
You
my
know,
mom
when
listened
you
and she's
are high
calls
up
me,
in a
I heard your
company."
story, and I'm like, yeah.
When you're high up in a company, you're not like, I just wanted to let you know I did some time.
Yeah.
I owned an escort service. No, I didn't sleep with your husband.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I've never, especially as of recent,
It's worth it. It's worth it to the fullest. I'm telling you, it is scary. And no, I still cry. There's times I'm crying because I don't know how to take it to the
always
next
cry.
level. I'm such a cry. I cry when I get excited, when embarrassed, guilt, fear, like shy. I cry. You know what's crazy? Getting sober. I've done music since 11. I didn't know I had stage fright.
Oh my god.
I got the worst stage fright. I can't even remember how one
See, that's the
line
only
or
thing I
lyric.
don't have. I can go speak in front of 1,500 people. It's not a problem.
Yes.
But it's crazy. I get scared that the drive to work.
Okay, yeah, you know,
it's
fair
crazy.
enough.
Yeah.
No, I have no problem speaking. The speaking's the easy part. Like I can go because my story is me. Like I literally just tell you what happened to me. Like that's easy. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? But the performing the music because that's my passion. I'm so scared. I'm so scared. People are judging. People are like, "What if I forget a lyric? What if I do suck?" You know what I'm
If I was in prison and you were performing, I'd be so happy for a different day.
If you think about it, look what Britney did, and people still love her, and she did it on stage in front of millions, right?
Yeah, it is crazy, right?
about-
Yeah. So it's crazy. It's crazy.
And I'm sure Eminem had a few abandoned
Oh,
yeah.
issues.
I'm sure. And here's the thing: is if you put in the work behind the closed doors, right? Because when it comes time, everything you've done behind closed doors will come to light, good, negative. So it's like I'm becoming more to trust myself because I'm up on stage, stomach twisted up, gotta go to the bathroom, like feel sick, I'm scared, I'm nervous, I'm shaky. I'm trying to figure out that 15 songs I was gonna do on the set. How can I cut it down to 2? How do I get out of here? You know what I'm saying? And because I'm thinking, I'm like, how does this song
What
start?
if I just walked out the back door? They wouldn't notice.
They wouldn't
right?
know.
Get out the back door without a guard. Yeah, no.
And so I'm thinking all this stuff, and I'm like, but nowadays I'm starting to learn to trust myself more because every time when that music comes on, I've made plenty of mistakes on stage. I've forgotten my words, things like
We all
that.
make mistakes.
But I have to learn to trust myself because it always works out. Because I practice, I rehearse, I've done this, I performed this song 100 times, 100 different shows. Like I know this dang song.
Right.
But I was about to come on and I'm scared, I'm shaky. I'm like, dude keeps mugging me, girls mugging me. I think they think I suck. They don't like rap. But it's important. You just got to trust yourself. And like I said, keep investing, keep putting in the work because it has paid off. You check my personal account, I might have $10. Our business accounts are doing all right. You know what I'm saying? But it's like personal account, like I never have money because we pay ourselves stipends out of the business. And we don't just spend it on crazy stuff. I live pretty fair. We still have all the stuff we want, but we live pretty fair, but invest because that's where everybody's stopping is the investment, right? Everything's too expensive. The world's expensive. It's expensive to get sandwich meat.
Yeah.
If you love it, do it, right? I've been doing music since 11 years old. I didn't make money till I was 28 years old off of music. Not a dime. But it's because I became my unapologetic, authentic self.
True
This
self.
is who I am.
Mm-hmm.
I'm scared. I make mistakes. Mama's little man isn't perfect. You know what I'm saying?
I feel in AA meetings, I
Yeah.
was always authentic, period. Never, nothing but I think for both of us, for me, since the breakdown,
Yeah.
I now am authentic self
Yeah.
too. I don't have to wear the I'm really successful in business
Yep.
despite going to prison.
Yep.
And it's really good every time we share a podcast, except for one. And we haven't shared it. I have been so just my life gets better by this. It's crazy. And I've been to a lot of meetings.
Yeah.
Like a lot of meetings. Yeah.
I honestly believe in everybody knows how to double down on their strengths. If you're good at some, people tend to lean on that. I like that saying, you're as strong as your weakest link, right? And I'm not talking about someone else. I'm talking about what is my weakest link. You have to figure out, with getting sober, people forget how to be themselves, who they are, right? We've been drinking and drugging for so long that we forget who we are, what makes us tick, what makes us excited, what makes us happy, right? What are your problems? Like addressing your mental health, addressing these issues. When you're in these situations, you get tight, you get angry. Why do you feel left out? Why are you feeling embarrassed? You know what I'm saying? Like there's times where I'm able to acknowledge I'm embarrassed because I feel like I'm the least talented person in the room. And that hurts for something I love. You know what I'm saying? But it's, why do I feel that way? Is that how I'm feeling? So it's important to address those things with yourself, to constantly work on yourself. Because once you work on it, you're more well-rounded, right?
Absolutely. And
That's
I think
huge.
if you think you got it all together
Yeah.
and you stop growing,
Yes.
man, that's when you don't got it together.
That's the thing.
And you're stagnant.
Yes. You always have to, it's always good to listen. It's always good to just be willing to improve yourself. You got to put in that work.
Yeah.
Amen.
Got to put in that work, right? Life has been absolutely beautiful. I have everything I could ever love. I'm grateful enough to be able to live in a nice place on a nice property. And it's like we have a horse out there. There's an alpacas out there. It's
How
like
cute.
I got my game station. I got a full studio. Right?
That's
I
like
love my
Peter's
games.
got a pond out back with fish. The man cave, you know.
I got my games. I love my
I got my
games.
dog. That's, you know. Yeah.
It's like I got my dog. We got a full studio. Me and my lady got a full studio. We have our full like little pressing space, like all that. We have a full gym, like treadmill, elliptical, work. Obviously, I need to be using it, but we have a sauna. We have a tanning bed. Like we have all this stuff that we have. Like you literally have everything.
I could use the tanning bed.
Hey,
I'm just
right?
saying.
It's like everything that like you could ever want. Like I have. Like it's insane. And I do music for a living. Like I'm like life is crazy. We're like got our dog. We've been traveling. We're always touring. You know, getting ready to hit 5 different countries.
Sounds like a full life.
It's amazing,
Yeah.
right?
It's a
Even
far cry from the
where I was.
boy nodding off
Yeah,
on
yeah,
the street.
yeah. And so
Good.
but figure out what makes you tick. Everybody's recovery is different. I recommend the big books. I recommend meetings. I know it don't work for everybody. I personally don't go to meetings, but I recommend them because I know it works for a lot of people. But my thing is, what are your dreams? Who did you want to be as a young boy or a young girl? What did you want to be? You didn't want to be that dope addict. You wanted to be a doctor or even a princess or a nurse or
I
maybe
wanted to be a lawyer.
a lawyer, a police officer, right?
No, a lawyer. I just wanted to argue and get
Okay.
paid for it. For real.
Fair
I
enough.
was like, I'm smart and I've used my brain in other ways. I felt like then when I had a record, yeah. But I did. I just wanted to be a lawyer and argue with someone and get paid to do it.
Why not? Why not, right? But we forget those dreams.
Yeah.
We forget what we're going after and we forget that what we want to be. And so we get sober and we're like, this kind of sucks. We settle for that job because we got to have bills. We got to pay things. Now we got kids and now we got this girlfriend and we're working on all this stuff. But it's like we forget that we did it for ourselves.
I think that this setting the right example for my child and being successful was good for that time. And they say there's a time in your life for everything. But I think this, me being older, Peter and I are close in age, but I think this is the first thing that has been rewarding in a different way.
Keep going. You guys have my full support. Seriously.
We appreciate it. We want to
Well,
thank
likewise.
you.
Yeah,
I want to
thank you
thank
so
Tony
much.
Of course.
for hooking us up.
My boy Tony V.
Yes.
Thank you for being so vulnerable and
course.
showing the light to hopefully somebody out there who
Absolutely.
listens.
Oh, you've touched somebody.
Encouragement for those who are struggling. And I just can't say how grateful I am that you took time to come here to my house.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
To my studio.
Hey!
And we'll put you on the website. We'll put on
Thank
how
you.
people can get a hold of you, because eventually they're going to be going through all of our content
They
when we
will.
blow up. And then
Hey, I'm saying it now. They definitely will. You guys are incredible. Like I said, the best thing you could offer somebody is your authentic self.
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Keep being you. Keep reaching for it. Pushing those limits. Keep exploring who you are. There was a couple times I looked up. I'll honestly say this has been so natural feeling, right? I looked up a few times. I looked at her and I was talking, and I turned. I saw the mic in the pod. I was like, "Oh, we're doing a podcast." But it just so three friends having a conversation.
And that's the
how we
intent.
try to make it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm literally got the
Absolutely.
podcast in front of my face. I'm looking at you and didn't even pay attention. So I saw it. I was like, "Oh, I forget we're recording."
Oh,
Then we were
on the mic.
successful.
I take back what I just said. No.
Then
But
we
those
were
are the best things.
successful.
Yeah.
Yay.
So
Thanks for being on the Real Recovery Podcast.
yes.
Thank you so much, Peter and Julie, Skyler Ray, and we're out.
Let's go.
Yay.
That's a wrap on today's episode. Thanks to each and every one of you for lending us your ears and hearts. Your engagement is what fuels our passion and keeps this podcast thriving.
We cherish the moments we share here and hope they resonate with you, whether you're on a daily commute, at the gym, or just taking a moment for yourself.
Make sure to head over to our website at realrecoverypodcast.com. While you're there, subscribe to our newsletter for the latest insights and uplifting stories from our community delivered straight to your inbox.
Click that subscribe button on your favorite podcast player too, so you can keep up with every new episode. It's your support that keeps our conversation alive and meaningful.
And if our stories have touched you, consider using the donate button on our site. Your contributions, no matter the size, are deeply appreciated. They help us continue our mission of sharing hope and healing.
Join us beyond the podcast and follow our journey on social media. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, and on X, formerly known as Twitter. All the links are on our site, so you can stay connected and be a part of the Real Recovery community every day.
Your likes, shares, and comments not only spread the message of recovery, but also remind us that we're all in this together.
So, until we meet again, remember that recovery is a journey, not a destination, and we'll be here to accompany you every step of the way to recovery, real recovery.
Thanks for listening.